Hello, my beautiful souls, and welcome. So this is interesting. I, for one, feel that someone is trying to manifest an answer out of me. I don't know if consciously. I probably don't think so. It's more maybe like putting a question out there, maybe including this in their prayers or asking their guides or something like that. And there was actually just a comment on one of my videos the other day where somebody said that they exactly prayed for what came up in one of my readings. Yeah, that is actually a very, very good way to ask for advice, for example. And I can feel that as a tug on my energy or like a pull. It comes through in different ways. I won't go into it deeper now. What I want to say, I'm sorry if you hear some noise in the background. The weird thing is that with this pulling on me, I also got kind of almost like instructions where to set up my camera, how to do all of that. And I felt this because it's a beautiful spring day, and the sun there's the little bit of sun coming through the window here, and I felt this desire to open I have it half open because they're having there's some garden works going on outside, so it's a little bit loud. I hope it won't be too disturbing, but the interesting thing, like for one, I felt this desire to open my balcony door to let the fresh spring air in, the sun in. And I was actually hoping that they might stop because then you can hear the birds. But then I heard some guides stepping through and saying, don't wait until the noise stops. So this seems to be our cue, our segue into the message. I got a few hints before, but actually I want to draw some cards because I'm not too sure what this is about. This is so interesting. I'm drawn to this oracle deck. It's in German, but it even could be, I don't know, maybe it also, sometimes there are like English decks that are translated into German, so maybe it does exist out there in English too. Quite possibly. Don't know why I'm talking about that. Maybe somebody will like the deck. I'll put it in the description. The reason why I say it's interesting because it's a deck I was drawn to and I bought it, but I actually it's about astronomy and like stars, and I don't know anything about all that stuff. So I don't really feel that comfortable with using it in a reading because I feel like I'd have to check the guidebook, and that is usually not what I do. But I mean, there has to be a reason why I'm choosing this deck right now. And I feel like maybe it has to do with don't wait until the noise stops. Like, don't wait until you feel ready, because then you will never start. Sometimes we just have to take a leap. Sometimes we just have to go for that thing and to trust that it will unfold along the way. And I can just like speak from my own experience here. Let me just share this one thing. I thought about starting a YouTube channel for ages, and I never felt ready to do that. And I mean, for the longest time, I wasn't quite there where I had to be to, like, um, manifest the kind of community and all of that I want to create with this channel, and it's starting to come in. But for the longest time, I wasn't really ready. But at one point, my guides were really urging me to start doing it, and that was over a year ago, actually. And at first, I started a German channel, YouTube channel, and I did that for almost, I don't know, 10 months, 11 months or something like that. And it didn't go anywhere, but it was great practice. Until one day I felt like, no, I have to open up. I have to do that in English. It feels more natural to me to channel in English, which is funny. But yeah, but I learned a lot from that first channel, and I'm still learning so much. And things are kind of evolving along the way. And I can tell you, I'm the biggest perfectionist. I used to be the biggest perfectionist out there. And I so often got stuck by just not doing the things, but overthinking about the things I want to do. And that's a tricky thing, because your brain doesn't really make a difference between thinking about something and really doing something. Sometimes when you think about things, your brain still gets the satisfaction out of it, because it cannot really tell the difference. So this is why many people get just stuck in daydreaming, because it can be quite, like, for the brain, it feels still satisfying. And of course, there's always a time for sitting with it and thinking about it, giving things space to evolve and all of that. But at some point, there's just nothing else to do than to start, and to, like I said, take that leap of faith and to trust that everything will be okay. So let's get into some messages here. And I'm trusting that that I will be guided through this process with a deck that I don't really have much knowledge about. Two more, they say. Okay. Nope. They're testing our patience right now. They're saying it takes as long as it takes. Is that... Yeah, okay, but Julie noted how this one came out and this one came out. Okay. So that one slipped out. Those three came out first. Alright, this is going to be a challenge for me, I'm not going to lie. So, we have Omega, and the word means limitlessness. And this seems to be a nebula. Then we have Orion. The word says hunt. And then we have butterfly with change. Now there's a little bug on me here. Okay, there seems to be a little bit of a confusion. Like, okay, I'm sitting here, I'm looking at those cards, I'm like, I don't know what to do with them. Like, okay, it seems to be like there are messages coming through from your guides, but you know, or whatever kind of belief system you have, like if like source or angels or whatever, in whichever way you work with spirit, let's put it that way. There is some kind of guidance trying to come through, and I think you see it, like you get it, like you see the signs, but you're looking at the cards and you're like, I don't know what you want to tell me. I really don't. And usually I'm drawn to things. Usually I just let information flow through me, but something seems stuck. It's not even that I'm overthinking. It's not even that. It's more like there's just nothing. And this kind of makes me sad. There's a sadness about that. It's like yes, I hear you, I see it, but I just cannot understand you. I hear the question, do you even speak my language? And what they want to say is, yes, they do speak your language. The thing is that it's a language that you maybe forgot about, or that you don't trust that you're fluent in it, actually. Because I'm calling them guides. Your guides, they are always communicating with you in a way that is suitable for you. That is your personal language. And this is interesting because this is something that kind of keeps coming up. I did that video about the Tower of Babel and the biblical story, and there was something different, similar coming through about the language of the universe and how you do speak the language of the universe, and that you just simply forgot how to speak it, or that you understand it. And that it's a matter of, learning to read the signs and symbols, but not in a way that others tell you how, like, this means that and this means that. And for example, when it comes to the tarot, of course, the cards, they do have underlying meaning, but those are deeply archetypal and esoteric principles, and they are in many ways in modern tarot, or by many tarot practices, they are using those cards in a very Sometimes I just want to say things and I feel like people will not like that, but well, it's my truth, so here it is. For me, it's a lifeless way of reading the tarot because we are like assigning like certain like bullet points to cards. And then the people are just like, they are putting together those bullet points and just like interpreting then those in like in the general way. But there's so much more depth to, like I said, the archetypal meaning and the journey, especially in the major arcana, but also in the minors. There's always a journey in there. There's always a deeper meaning. There are deeply esoteric principles in there, and if we like, those are the universal principles that are in there. But then there are also it's kind of hard to find the words here and to explain. It's a weird energy. And I kind of keep on saying that in some readings, because it's just this block where I cannot really get through to the core. Now I feel like you are sinking. And I'm brought back to the noise and distractions. Like all of those signs and synchronicities that we get, they sometimes can be very distractive. They can be a distraction. Because like our brain tries to read like all those meanings, especially like angel numbers, for example. I'm always kind of struggling with numbers, to be honest. Because I always feel like there's a way deeper and bigger meaning behind all of that, and you know, the whole universe has a background in mathematics, so numbers are way more complicated than, I don't know, when you see this number, then it means a new love is coming in, or I don't want to mock all of that, but and if it works for people, that's fine. But I feel like the collective I'm here for, if you're resonating with me in my videos, you want to go deeper. You want to go and this is where the confusion comes from, because I feel like you know that there is this, like, let's say this universal language, like math, for example, but you're having a hard time decoding it. And when I said, like, yes, the universe is communicating through numbers with me, but actually I do have like a few numbers that come up frequently, and I have my own meaning for them, but they're very, very personal. And I do have some kind of understanding, but at the same time, I feel like there are like so many layers I don't even see, but I don't have to. That's fine. I can still like work with it. And with every time I get another layer of the meaning, it just enriches the understanding, but it doesn't invalid what I knew before. That's like one thing. And the other thing is, yes, the universe does communicate through numbers with me, but not as much as with other things. My language is like more through everyday life, through sometimes conversations I overhear when I'm like, I've been sitting in a cafe earlier, and I like on the table next to me they were talking, and I didn't really like follow their conversation, but sometimes I would just like hear bits and pieces, and it was so interesting because it was just mirroring back to me certain things that I was contemplating or that were like present for me at the moment. So the universe can communicate with you in all kinds of things. And it can be really, really distracting. Like I'm getting distracted from all kinds of things. The bug, somebody just started shouting out there, and now I just saw 22 on the timer, speaking of numbers. So yeah, there's like this, it's this one neighbor. He's always annoying me so he's so incredibly annoying because he's always talking on the phone like so loud on his balcony, and he has like a very dominant voice. It's hard to ignore. Sorry. It's kind of hard to, like, I'm repeating myself, but it's kind of hard to get through the energy here. I guess like that's how you're feeling. Okay, so now I'm coming back to the cards. And I, like with Orion and the Hunt. I'll let you have a look at it. I just heard something about like you're hunting for signs. Are you hunting for signs, or are you hunting for meaning? Both, I hear. So there's one thing you need to know about synchronicities and how they actually work. It's not always that, like, they can work in different ways. Sometimes they can be confirmation. Sometimes they can be guidance, although I actually believe, or in my experience, it's more often than not, it's not necessarily guidance. And this is where many people get lost, because they think that like they are guided through synchronicities, and then they just like follow this breadcrumb trail, and then they are running into one direction, and in the end in the best case they realize, okay, this just led me nowhere, and I kind of maybe got a little lost on the way, or I maybe feel like, oh, I wasted time, although time's never wasted, right? Like there are always lessons to learn. But in the worst case scenario, this can actually be pretty dangerous, because sometimes people, they, and let me just say that without wanting to make, without any fear-mongering or anything like that, but there are not always, there are forces out there that don't have your best interest at heart, and I experienced it myself, that I was sometimes led down a certain path that wasn't dangerous to me, but it was like keeping me in certain patterns. But I also heard stories from people that said like, well, it actually got me into a kind of dangerous thing, or almost got me into a dangerous thing. So just be a little bit careful, I'd say. Like, don't trust all of those signs too blindly. With that being said, yes, there can be guidance, but you will, like, it will feel different. It's a different kind of feeling. And I actually, there's no fear. There's no, oh my God, I hope this is it. There's no spiraling. It's just like this deep inner knowing and this deep inner trust. And it's calm and it's quiet and it's soft and gentle and it's never pushy. Or it can be, there can be juice behind it, yes. But it's never pushy in a way of, like I said, there's no fear or anxiety or anything accompanied with that. Yeah, so that's one thing. And then there are synchronicities that, like I said, are simply like confirmation. And like most of the time, the universe is just mirroring back to you in what kind of state you are in. So maybe you experience that when you are in a state of inner alignment and just in, I call it union with self, that then suddenly you are, it can feel like bombarded with synchronicities. And maybe the synchronicities that remind you of, I hear a certain person, a certain connection, a certain experience, memory, whatever. And there's this guidance coming through that this actually doesn't mean more than basically like you're on the right path, but don't make more of it as it is, which actually it just is. It's mirroring back to you that you are in alignment. Okay, this is such a weird, awkward energy. There is something like, I suddenly felt very uncomfortable in front of the camera. I felt like the angle is wrong. I don't know, it's just like, it's all wrong. And I'm probably going to cut something out there. I will, because I paused for very long. And I kind of lost track of like where I was. But, and I was like, now I was thinking like, okay, I should just stop and maybe record it new. But then I felt like, but I said so many things already. I don't want to repeat it all. And then I saw the cover of the Oracle deck, and you see like the brain here. There's like all this there's like this whole universe in here, but it's leaking out. And in the back, it's like something we don't see. And it's like electrical energy. like little lighting bolts here. And before I got into this awkward energy, I talked about something that came through with quite some determination, and then I suddenly felt very uncomfortable, and I also said, like, it feels like this is not easy for you to hear. And it was, and I don't know where I'll cut it, so sorry if I like repeat myself, but it was that they said it's very important that if you receive synchronicities, that you connect to another person, to a very specific person, that it doesn't mean that they are meant for you. It doesn't mean that they will come back. It doesn't mean that you're destined for each other. It simply means that there's something inside of you coming into a deeper union. You are becoming more of yourself. And whatever you see in that other person, whatever you think is over there, is becoming more alive inside of yourself. And this is why the universe is mirroring back to you that which you connect with that person. Because they are actually the archetype that you think of, or like they are basically a representation of the archetypal energy that you want to have for yourself. This is why you desire them so much. This is why you want to have them in your life, because you think you are more whole with them in your life. And they are embodying something that you probably actually need to become more of yourself, more of like who you are meant to be. But they are very, very this is some tough love coming through here. They're saying you do not receive that thing through the other person. The other person is simply the mirror. The other person is showing you what you think you're missing, but you actually don't. You just forgot that it's present inside of you. You have to find that thing inside of yourself again. And you will probably know that cycle, and it's interesting because I thought about that earlier. In the tarot, you have the card, the number 14 is Temperance, and the number 15 directly after it is the Devil. So the Temperance card is about balance, but it's even more about the union within self, you could say. It's about divine alchemy. And when you have those two forces coming together, those opposing forces, and I don't have the traditional tarot right here, right now. They are, let me see if I have, because I know that I used, yeah, it's right here. Because I knew that doesn't matter. So the Temperance card in this deck, you see it's like those two opposing energies. Like you have the light and the dark one, and they are flowing in magic ways, you could say. And in the traditional Rider-Waite tarot, you have a figure that's an angel, or like interpreted as an angel, has those two cups, and actually like they are flowing into each other. And they're also like miraculously doing that because one is flowing upwards. So this is a mystical process, and you could say it's the coming together of the masculine and feminine energy, the yin and yang, coming together, and together they're forming a union. And I talked about this a lot on this channel before, that this is when we experience this like deep connection with the all of everything, with the universe, when we're in this flow state. And like I said, lots of signs and synchronicities, everything is mirrored back at you. And then our brain starts to interfere, and it starts to jump onto like everything that is happening, and it's trying to interpret it in our favor. Actually, not in our favor, but in what it wants to believe. It tries to frame all of that into a certain narrative. And for the collective, the people this is coming through for, it seems like this has very much to do with some kind of connection with another person. I always hesitate using the phrase, but it's just coming through so loudly, so I'm going to say it. It very much feels like twin flame stuff. And you probably know that. Like, you have this feeling of inner union state. You have this, like, uprising synchronicities. Like, all those signs that remind you of that certain person, and then you come crashing down and nothing happens, or you're spiraling. And this is actually the next card in the tarot, which is the Devil card. And so this is an ongoing process. And the question is, do we learn, like when the devil kicks in? This is not necessarily a bad thing, but it's the moment when we get the chance to show what we've learned, and that we learn to not buy into the stories. It's not so much about that you don't have the stories in your head, because this is just what our brain does. And when you have, like, when there's a certain story you've bought into, or that you told yourself for a very, very long time, then it's hard to let go of that. And it's somebody commented under the video I posted about the devil energy the other day. I think it said something like old habits die hard, or something like that. And yeah, that's exactly it. That's so true. They die so hard. So it's not about you not having those thoughts, not having those hopes and fears and all of that coming up. That's perfectly fine. It's more about, do I buy into them? Do I believe them? Or do I choose to come into a higher knowledge? Do I come into a deeper wisdom? And do I draw on all the knowledge and wisdom that I have gathered up until now through my journey, and to look the devil energy in the face and say, no, I know that a part of me wants to believe that, but I don't go down that path anymore. I choose to do it differently this time. So, all right, here comes the, and now the cards are starting to make sense to me. So thank you. So here comes the change card, and with the butterfly. It is, I hear the moment when the caterpillar realizes that it has become too small for the chrysalis. That's the moment when it can come out and emerge as a butterfly. And actually, I think they stopped with the noise, so... But there are also no birds. Well, maybe they'll start singing again. We'll see. Yeah, so the question is it time for the butterfly era? And this is actually like your decision. You can decide to step out of the old cycles because you've gone through them so many times, and you know by now that they have brought you nowhere. So, or they taught you maybe many lessons, but like you've learned everything that was there to learn. So now it's time for a change. And what you're asked to step into is limitlessness. And I'm drawn to the swan here, and it reminds me of the story of the ugly duckling. Like, I guess most of you are familiar with it. If not, go and read it. But it's like basically there's like the ugly duckling that just like thinks it's a duck. It has a mother that's a duck, and even the mother thinks it's ugly because it looks so different than all the other ducklings. And then one day it just like leaves and it starts to look for, basically for soul family. It looks for like a new family. And it tries like with many different kinds of animals, and it never fits in until one day it meets swans. And then it suddenly realizes, hey, they look like me. And actually, I'm not a duck, I'm a swan. I was just a swan raised with ducks. And they told me I was wrong because I was not like, I looked different. And so there's something about maybe being part of, I feel like community or like family, but what's kind of striking me even more is actually a spiritual community. It's a way of thinking, like a certain group of people thinking. And okay, they're bringing me back again to the twin flame community. And there's something in here about maybe you always felt a little off. Like maybe you always felt like, well, there was always something a little bit different about the kind of journey you were on. And that it's beautiful that some people, they got like more confirmation. Oh, they're starting again. It's okay. It's something about like when you open the window and then like the noise starts to come in again. So maybe like I said, this twin flame community, and you are always like going back maybe to the old readers or the old like whatever kind of common belief systems, groups you were in. I feel like you're being asked to at least take a break for a while. Which doesn't mean that you can never come back to that, but maybe until you are like in a more settled state, in like not believing so much what other people are telling you, because I feel like there's this, again, this thing about like you're actually like in your own center, you are vibing, you're good, you're flowing, and then you maybe get readings or something like that, and then there are suddenly like all those signs and synchronicities in there, and they throw you off center, and then you're doubting maybe like the wisdom that you gained before. So like I said, it's not that, and if you haven't seen it, like you should check out my devil energy video. I go in like very much talk about that topic in there. It's not that this is wrong, and it's not like this was part of your journey, and it's not to say that this was wrong. Like the ugly duckling had to go through all of this, and it had to experience maybe because at the beginning it's like from its own family it's pushed out basically, and then it starts to look for their true soul family. Oh, that's so beautiful. And on their way they meet many different groups, and it's not that they some of them take him in, and that's something new for him, and he's trying to fit in with them, but he experiences over and over and over again that, oh, I still don't fit in. But he keeps on looking, and he keeps on searching until he finally finds the right soul family for him as a swan. And he finally gets where he's supposed to be with other swans. And this is where he finally like realizes his limitless potential. So this is the swan with limitlessness. And let's talk about the other two cards that came out, because they, like these three cards, they flew out. The other ones, they were a little bit more hesitant in coming out. And this one, it just like slid out of the deck. And this is Virgo Justice. And here I'm actually mostly like, for one, like the justice aspect, it brings me back to the temperance aspect as well, like, which is, both is about balance, but it's a different kind of balance. Justice is more about, like the justice card in the tarot is more about seeing the facts as what they are and not what we want them to be. So this is very important. Again, this thing about grounding and about like, okay, don't get lost in what you want to believe is true or what your mind wants you to make you believe is true. Like not buying into the narrative, but asking for truth. And if you don't know what's going on, just ask for truth. Don't jump to conclusions. Just ask for the truth. And again, I hear, don't go looking for the truth in spaces where you know your old story will be fed again. Don't go to places where you know, like, actually, I'm done with that story. But look for truth in places where you know they either give you, like, a different kind of point of view, or where you know, like, it maybe makes it a little bit uncomfortable because you know it's going to challenge you. Because you know this person, maybe it's a friend, maybe it's another reader, maybe it's a self-help book or whatever, I don't know. But go somewhere where you know, the point of view that you like to tell yourself will be challenged there for the better. But what I'm like mostly drawn here to is the compass. And this is about the inner compass. I always say, like, this is why my channel is called Light of Polaris, because I always say, like, follow your North Star. No, like, if nothing else works, and if you get too confused to, I don't know what's true, I don't know what I like to believe, or what, like, but this is the thing I desire, or is it just something, like, do I truly desire it, or is it just something I'm used to thinking that I desire it, or do I just desire it because I don't know that there's maybe something else out there that's even better, but I'm too afraid to let go of that thing or that person or whatever, because I cannot imagine that something else might come in that's maybe even better. And I feel you. I really have to say, I feel you. Been there, done that. Still are there sometimes, some days. So I can tell you from like own experience. The thing that always helps is to remember your own North Star. And your North Star, let's be clear, is not another person. You know for yourself what that is. It can be maybe a feeling. It can be the vision of a place or of a state of being. It doesn't have to be like a concrete goal. I can tell you, like, my North Star is actually more a state of being, and I have certain visions, but for me it's clear that those visions are not, they are more about the feeling, they're more about the vibe, they're more about the atmosphere in there. And I also know that they like this image that I have in my head, it just encompasses everything. So I don't have to be that detailed, which is funny, right? Because like when you see my videos, my readings, I'm insanely detailed. I'm a Virgo. I'm insanely detailed. But the funny thing is, because my brain likes details and it likes to get overwhelmed by that. So when it comes to envisioning my North Star, it's not very detailed. It's something that I trust, that encompasses everything I could ever want. Also the things that I don't even know I want yet. So yeah, trust your inner compass. And always like look where your north is. Your true north is. And the last one is what's the English word? Yeah, necklace. That's interesting. What is it's a nebula. That's interesting. So it's necklace, and the word is self-confidence. Look at her. Like, this is self-confidence, isn't it? Like, she knows. She knows her inner truth. She knows her North Star. You see that up here? Like, that's her North Star. And it's in her third eye, too. It's like, this is something like she's following that from a place of wisdom, of intuition. This is nothing, it has nothing to do with overthinking, it has nothing to do with following external signs or what somebody else is telling you. This is following your own inner guidance. You see how I made it through like the reading with those cards? With not one single look into the guidebook. Just with my inner guidance and with, yes, some external guidance by your guides. But in the end, like they were working with like my way of channeling. I didn't have to know a thing about astronomy to work with an astronomical deck. So yeah, I don't know if this is like the same collective, the same people that are nudging me in that way, or like if this is just like all of you, that you just want to know how to work with your guides, with synchronicities, with signs, with like how to walk that very confusing path. And I also feel like twin flame stuff is coming through a lot. It's coming through a lot. And okay, so they're bringing me back to this twin flame community stuff. I didn't really finish my thought there earlier. You can maybe tell from the way I talk about it that I do have my own experiences with that. And it's been like part of my awakening journey. It's been not been all of it, but it's been a major part of it, definitely. And at some point, I kept asking for the truth, and I kept asking for, because there are certain aspects of the whole twin flame narrative that just don't really fit into my general understanding of how the universe and how like the deeper layers of all of that work. And some parts of it, like they can coexist with certain esoteric understandings and all of that. So it's not all wrong, but I also came to the inner knowing for me that it's not all there is, that there's more to all of it. And so it's a balancing act, right? Because I still, probably same as you, if you manifested this video, if you are resonating with this, like I also do get signs and synchronicities, and I sometimes slide back into those old stories, and I keep on releasing all of that. It's not always easy. And I think I said it the other day, or I wrote it in a post or something like that, that I keep learning through these readings myself. Like I learned so much from these readings myself, and I'm like, okay, I feel a little caught in this advice that's coming through, because I know I can take my own advice here, or that, let's say, spirit's advice. I'm just a messenger. But yeah, there are what I do know is that maybe many things can be true at once. Like I don't have to push away that connection. I don't have to negate all of it. I don't have to negate the journey. I am deeply, deeply grateful for what I was gifted by this journey, what it taught me. I am so deeply grateful for the experience that I had with that certain person. And I simply come back to the trust over and over and over again that in whatever way, in whatever capacity, I will be gifted with something maybe even greater than that in the future. That there's something coming in that will at least, that will match this, that will match me, because I'm not the same person that I was at the beginning back then. And yes, a part of me hopes that this will be this certain person. I'm not gonna lie, but I don't know. So the best thing for me to do is to come back to self and to remember my North Star and simply follow that, and also remember what I've learned since then. And I also accept that this connection, it probably won't go anywhere. This is also something that I actually quite lately came to understand, because I was in that, it's so interesting that I'm talking about all of that. I didn't intend on sharing it, but well, here it is. I actually was in that state of mind where I thought I had to let it go completely. I had to push it away. I had to just get rid of it. But guess what? Didn't work. Couldn't get rid of it. So now I am at this point where I say, okay, and of course, what you resist persists, right? It's so now I'm in this place where I say, okay, I it's this balancing act of not putting any expectations on that, just being grateful and accepting that this is an eternal mirror, at least from like where I'm standing. It looks like it. I mean, you never know. Maybe it'll change, but I think I've made a certain shift in my spiritual evolution that I never thought I would be capable of. And it's so interesting for me to see, like, okay, I'm here and this connection is still here too. And maybe it's not about getting rid of it. But maybe it's more about redefining what it can be for me. How I can relate to it. And yeah, there's still like in the devil energy, it is coming through, and it's about like, can you remember what you've learned? Can you remember the deeper wisdom, the expansion that you experienced through this whole awakening process and all the wisdom you came to? Can you make room for all of that and this connection, and maybe come to a different understanding of it and not slide back into old ways, and trying to like fit it into those old narratives that I as a person actually have grown out of. Because what I wished for when I met that person, those are not the same wishes, not the same desires that I had back then. So I need to honor the person that I am now, and to, yeah, not try to go back into the past, because that's impossible. So yeah, this is a really long one. I mean, I am going to cut a little bit out of it, but still, that took some unexpected turns. Didn't expect to talk about like all the twin flame stuff here. But it seems that it keeps coming out. It keeps coming out on this channel. So I feel like there is this collective that has gone through a similar journey and is also ready for maybe some new narratives, some new ideas about that, and about what, like, how we can actually work with like those soul mirrors. And there's the Lover's card just right next to it, which is actually a card about mirroring and about like the mirroring of the universe and relationships and all of that. And this is actually the really true alchemical understanding of relationships and love in general. So yes, my loves, I hope it helped. Sure was a bit of a tricky energy to work through, but now in hindsight it doesn't surprise me, because this is a tough energy to work through, not gonna lie, let's be real. So yeah, and just like one last note on that, like I said, I didn't plan on talking about this twin flame stuff too much here on the channel. And I just received another message yesterday from another reader where it was like, because I felt like I was very open over the last few days and I shared a lot about my process and about like all the stuff that's going on inside of me with all of this here. And she said, like, you're still holding back something. And I was like, I'm not holding back anything. I don't know what she's talking about. There you go. That was what I was holding back. Actually, a pretty huge part of my spiritual awakening journey. So, they tricked me. They tricked me into opening up about this part of my journey. So thank you, Spirit, for making me share that. I know that it will be for a very, very good reason. And yeah, so thanks for being here. Thanks for nudging me. Like I said, I hope it helped and that you find it valuable. I would love to hear from you in the comments, maybe even like if you have more questions or if you like would like to hear more about all of that. It seems like I'm maybe supposed to talk more about that. So yeah, just let me know or pray for it or try to manifest it or just like send me your thoughts or an email or whatever. Those are all good ways to contact me. I love you so much. I thank you all for the support and the beautiful comments and all the love you sent me over the last few days and weeks. It's very exciting and yeah. So I hope it helped and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next video. Until then, take care.